5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. Happy Sunday. We are finally here to discuss the Resident Evil franchise, the Underworld franchise, as well as the Purge franchise. And y'all know that I can't be trusted because this is like what, the third time that I rescheduled this live. We were supposed to do this, I think, Friday. Then I rescheduled it for Saturday. But look, we here. Okay, we here. Now, I did a huge horror franchise tier list ranking of about, I don't know, I think it was either almost 4 hours or almost 5 hours. It was crazy. But in ranking all of those franchises, three of the franchises that I ranked in that tier, I said I thought they were top tier franchises and extremely like the most underrated, not overrated, the most underrated horror franchises. Baby, you got to be careful the stuff you proclaim when you haven't seen stuff in a while. Because I love all three of these franchises, but it was a lot of these movies I hadn't seen in years on years on years. And I recently rewatched every single solitary one of these movies, except one, which I'll get into why I didn't rewatch that one. But I literally rewatched every single solitary one of these movies. Literally just finished watching the Purge election year. Y'all, you gotta be careful the stuff you proclaim. But let's see who's here with us for this ranking. Anakin, not Vader, thank you so much for being here in the live. Critical Thinker, thank you so much for being here in the live. Equalizer, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you drop down in the chat. Let me know you're here. And let me know your favorite of these three franchises. Now, I am going to get into the actual tier list that we will be working with. So this is what we're doing today. Let me get the thoughts together. We are going to do a tier list ranking of every single solitary movie in all three of these franchises. And then after that, I will rank each individual franchise's movies. And then I will rank all three franchises of what I think like best, worst to best. Okay. But look, like I said, I had watched some of these movies in a really long time, right? So honestly, Underworld is the franchise that I have the least experience with as far as my rewatches. I hadn't seen any of the Underworld movies in like 20 years. Like, I have not seen those movies in ages, to the point that this recent rewatch, I was like, baby, have I even seen these movies? Like, they felt like first time watches. That's how long it has been since I have seen any of the movies in the Underworld franchise. And all I could not remember the actual events of the movies, right? But I could just remember my feelings about the movies. Like, I remember I loved those movies. I remember Rise of the Lycan used to be my favorite one. And I remember Theo James ruined the franchise. Like, when Theo James came in, I was like, I don't like these movies. But I didn't even remember Theo James is actually in two of the Underworld movies. I just remember him being in one that I hated. But I had not seen any of those movies in ages. Now, when it comes to Resident Evil, that's the franchise. Resident Evil and The Purge, I have rewatched the most over the years. Most notably, I have rewatched Resident Evil the most, but not all of the movies. Now, in the Resident Evil franchise, the very first one, I pretty much rewatched them all. I've never seen Resident Evil Final Chapter. I don't know if I just haven't seen it in forever. I felt like I was watching that movie for the first time. I don't think I ever saw Final Chapter. According to my mother, we did. We saw it together. I'm like, I never saw that movie. I don't remember it. But that very first Resident Evil movie, I've watched it an ungodly number of times. Now, the Purge franchise, the two I watched the most is Anarchy and Election Year. I've seen those two quite a bit of times. Never rewatched Ethan Hawke's The Purge. I saw it one time, never rewatched it. It, yeah, but let's bring up but y'all, I'm sick. I'm literally kind of sick to my stomach that I proclaimed these to be like the three most underrated horror franchises because, baby, I take it back. Can I do a retraction? Sitting through, so I spent, and that's one of the reasons why I kept rescheduling this, is I was trying to get through all of the movies, and it was so frustrating because let me tell you, everything is a scam. Because I literally pay for every streaming service under the sun, not just at my leisure, but because I do this channel. So I literally pay for every single Star Trek streaming service you could think of. So if it's a series, a movie, whatever, I have access to it. Y'all, why wasn't by none of these movies streaming? I was like, are you kidding me? The only two movies of all three of these franchises that were streaming, and it's 17 movies total in all of these franchises put together, there were only two movies streaming. Only two. Tubi had the very first Resident Evil, and I think Raccoon City was on Stars. That was it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I was so upset. Like, I have to pay to rent 15 movies. I was just like sick. I was like, why did I say I was going to do this ranking? Because F trying to rent 15 movies. Like, y'all, it's insane. I'm just like, I could not believe that the movies were not streaming anywhere. But as I was watching all of the Underworld movies, I'm gonna be honest, they got old real quick, like real fast. It was actually really hard for me to finish Underworld, like to get through the how many movies are in Underworld? Underworld has 5 movies. It was real hard for me to get through like 3, like the last 3. Like it was excruciating. It got old real quick. Real quick. I found the franchise to be a lot more lackluster than I remember it being. I was just like, what the hell? And then Resident Evil franchise. Oh God. Resident Evil franchise. I love that franchise. I still love that franchise. I still think it is a really great franchise. Definitely more action than horror, more like zombie action, creature feature action. They have a formula. They pretty much stick to it. Very like a B movie creature action, zombie action type of franchise. But this is also a franchise that I was like, they really set stuff up, introduce stuff, and just go nowhere with it. Like literally go nowhere. One most notable thing that really irked me was Whisker makes Alice like human again. He's like, I'm taking back Umbrella property. And I literally spent the rest of that movie and the rest of all the sequels after that, like, wait, is she human or not? Like, is she human or not? We never addressed it again. We never acknowledged it. And she still was running around like she was motherfucking superhuman. I'm just like, wait, what? But that's just one example. There's like a ton, like the way a certain movie will end will set up something and the next movie starts and it's like, wait, what happened to that? It is literally probably the most inconsistent and plot holy franchise there is, like bar none. Like, what the hell? But yo, I love Resident Evil. But let's go ahead and bring up our tier list. So these are our 17 movies that we are ranking. There are 17 movies altogether between the 3 franchises. Of course, the biggest franchise is Resident Evil. They have the most movies. So we have 4 tiers. And I think these are the least amount of tiers I have ever done for a tier list ranking, but we obviously did not need a ton of tiers because we only have 17 movies that we are ranking. Now, our tiers from top to bottom, which obviously top will be the best movies in the franchise, and as you get to the bottom, those are the worst. At the very top, we have peak entertainment. Then we have now this is fun. Once we get to the two bottom tiers, remove your brains, and then what even is this? What even is this? What even is this? Faith, Family, and Fun Reviews. Hi, thank you so much for being in the live. You've been pretty quiet for the past few days. I'm not used to that. It's good to see you live. I was trying to get through these 17 movies. Okay, it was trying times. They were trying times. Like, baby, that's why you have to revisit movies before you make proclamations about them. Because I was like, literally was all over my social media, like, these are the best 3 horror franchises, and no one ever mentions them. Baby, it's the reason why nobody mentions these. It's the reason. It's some of them. Tony T, thank you so much for being here in the live. The first Resident Evil will always be a classic and one of the best movies adopted from a video game. And that's something else with my opinion of these franchises. I think Underworld and Resident Evil are both video games. Baby, I don't know nothing about these video games. I'm not a gamer. Like, that's not my ministry. I go through a lot of phases. So when I was like 15, 16, I went through a video game phase, and then I got like in trouble and couldn't play my video game for like 2 weeks. And then once the 2 weeks was up, I didn't even care no more about the video games. But I did play Resident Evil. I cannot remember which Resident Evil game I played back then, but I think this was after the first movie. Yeah, I think the first movie was like 2002. So maybe I was like 14, 13. I don't know. I can't barely, y'all. I can't remember. And I'm not good at math. But I think the first movie was like 2002. But I did used to love the Resident Evil video game. But again, not my ministry. It was a hop, skip, jump in a minute. It was a quick phase when I was into video games. So I don't know anything about like the actual like video game lore and like I don't even know who in the movies are actual characters in the game. Like, so this opinion is absolutely not from anything with the video games. And in Underworld, I don't know anything about those video games. I've never played them, never anything with those. But let's go ahead and start ranking and getting into our movies. First up, right here, we have the Purge election year. And you know what? I forgot to put this on my letterbox. I was finna say I'm going to also give, because I literally, that's why I was late starting this live. I literally finally finished the very last movie and that of my rewatch to get ready for this. And that was the Purge election year. Oh wow, the last time I saw the Purge election year and ranked it on Letterboxd, I gave it a 2.5. I'm going to give it a solid 3 this time. So I'm going to also give you my Letterboxd rating when I do each movie. So Purge election year, apparently last time I saw it, I gave it a 2.5. I think that's harsh. I'm going to give it a solid 3 on my rewatch today. And I feel like the Purge election year following up Anarchy doesn't tread anything new, right? Like, as a follow-up to Anarchy, it definitely feels like they wanted this to be Anarchy. They wanted to recreate the magic of Anarchy. Now, the Purge in general as a franchise, definitely a lot of elements are very over the top. Like, they do too much, child. Doing too much type of franchise. But typically it'll work for me. With election year, I do feel like it goes and veers too far into like silly territory. It veers a little too far into like hokey, over the top, at least for me. We have a horrendous opening scene where we have what was that congresswoman lady, like apparently her family was like held hostage on Purge night and like they were killed. And that's pretty much this opening scene. Oh my God. This scene is so cringy when the guy is talking about his Purge playlist, the line delivery, the dialogue is so terrible. There's a scene with one. This is with, I think this of all the Purge movies, baby, the Purgers were so over the top. The one Purger who's like, who's the fittest? I was just like, it veers too far into laughable terror. I'm sorry. That guy being like, who's the fittest? Like, I'm dying. I'm dying. But it veers too far into laughable, silly territory. And then our ensemble cast of characters. I love old boy, whose name I can never motherfucking remember, who plays Joe in Election Year, who played Bubba Gump, who we played Troy out in the summertime with his hot leather. He has some cringy motherfucking dialogue. Cringy ass dialogue. And the acting, and I felt like the acting wasn't, we know he could act. Like, hello, like, baby, we know he can act. But it did feel like the acting was very hokey, but it also felt like he understood the assignment. He knew what type of movie he was in, so he wasn't about to give you like a Bubba Gump performance. But his dialogue is so absolutely atrocious. One moment that sticks out for me is when he's like, it's a bunch of Negroes headed this way and we look like a bucket of fried chicken. Baby, how much they pay you to say that? How much did they pay you to say that, black man? Because baby, no, like y'all, like, oh God, you know what? I think that my 2.5, my last time I saw it was harsh, but it was probably because of this damn dialogue. Like the dialogue in this movie, literally, is just, it's freaking terrible. Like it's so freaking bad. But on the plus side, the action is good. Frank Grillo's supremacy. I mean, I like the story of like protecting this woman who's going to get elected and like change things. I mean, I'm not invested like in this white lady, but sure, like sure. But it's like the over the top, like the purgers, like that stuff really is kind of a sore thumb in this entry. The two black girls that go into the store trying to like steal the acting is atrocious. I don't know what we were doing with the casting, but baby, a lot of the acting is atrocious. These two girls acting stick out like a sore thumb, particularly like the lead girl that's really doing the most of the talking. They're just annoying, not scary. And then when she's in the store and she's like, you cocksucker. Black people don't talk like that. Black folk don't talk like, baby, we don't. We don't say cocksucker. Like white people, when you write the roles, please remember, like, baby, this is a black, baby, we don't say that. We do not say that. We don't talk like that. I didn't even believe her when the actress said it. Like the dialogue is just so goddamn bad. Like it's so bad. It truly, truly hurts. But I'm gonna be honest. I got entertainment out of it. Like I said, I did give it a 3 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I was entertained. I'm going to put it in the second tier of, you know what? Yeah, I was about to drop it to remove your brains, but you know what? It don't need to be that low. I'm gonna put it right here in the second. It's fun. It is fun. There's entertainment value, you know, to be had. You can kind of put it in the realm of turn your brain off, but I just don't want to I don't want to put it that low in the ranking because I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I do wish we got a better cast of characters. I do wish, especially following up Anarchy. I do wish that we had better dialogue, and I halfway want to say I wish we got a better like central plot. But like I said, sure, like fine, we're coming together, protecting the Congresswoman, like whatever, like it's fine, it's fine. The next movie that we have here will be what movie? Oh, this is the first Purge. This is the first Purge. Chat, look, when I said that I went through and I rewatched all 17 of these movies except one, this is the except one. F this movie and a horse it rolled in on. I hate this movie. Throw the whole movie away. Literally the only movie I'm ranking today that I did not rewatch coming into this ranking. I mean, I don't need to see it again. Like, I don't. I remember, they had this whole thing of, I think, like, people weren't purging, like the government wanted on this first outing. There were like test subjects who could go out with these little contact lenses. This one really annoying purger that we pretty much is like a central purger we follow, who's like really batshit crazy and insane, but he was just aggravating. The movie was very heavy-handed with like the movie's messaging, which I'm not against the messaging, but it was just so like heavy-handed and over the top. Literally the only Purge movie where I don't care about anybody at all. I don't like nobody. Everybody could just go to hell. Like, it is literally just a bad movie. The whole murderer kingpin, which I love that actor, fine as hell, love you. But no, sir, the kingpin murderer turn like hero arc doesn't work here. And in general, if you want to give me a murderer that turns to hit, fine, like on paper, okay. But I just feel like the execution was off. I didn't buy the arc. It no evolution, like it just doesn't work. Obviously that's going in the bottom tier. What even is this? And what did I even, oh yeah, I didn't rewatch it. I was gonna say, what did I rank that? I didn't rewatch it. It's bad. It's so atrocious. I just can't. And I just feel like it just leaned so heavy with these characters that we follow. I just was like, it was just such stereotypes. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Next we have Underworld Evolution. And I'm gonna be honest, I gotta look up this synopsis. These Underworld movies were not as good as I remembered. They really bleed into one another. I think this is the sequel. I think this is the second. Yeah, this is the second one. Picking up directly from the previous movie, vampire warrior Celine and the half werewolf Michael hunt for clues to reveal the history of their. Wait, what? What was this movie about? As the war between the vampires and the Lycans rages on, a former member of the Death Dealers, blah blah blah, work together in an effort to unlock the secrets of their respective bloodlines in this ancient feud between. Oh, wait. Is this the one Michael Corvin flee the Lycans lair? Is this the one where like one of the elders went to wake up his werewolf brother, who come to find out yeah, Marcus. Okay. I'm sorry. Like the Underworld movies, I'm sorry, they were not as good as I remember. I had to refresh myself trying to read the synopsis, which those were very vague synopsis, which of course, they're not going to give you a spoiler in the synopsis. But okay, so Underworld Evolution is the sequel. It is the second in the franchise. This is the one where the Marcus guy, who is a vampire, like him and his brother, one was bitten by a bat, one was bitten by a wolf, and they're like the start of the whole bloodline or whatever. Plus their dad is like in this one, but he felt very human. Like, I don't know, he was supposed to be the oldest and strongest, but he just felt like a human. Like, he didn't do nothing, child. But I actually enjoyed Evolution, even though very forgettable. But I enjoyed this one. I think if I remember correctly, let me look at my Letterboxd rating. I liked it more than the first one. Basically, yeah, I gave Evolution 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I had fun with this one. Again, yeah, it's forgettable, but it was an enjoyable watch. Solid movie, good like vampire werewolf action and stuff like that. Particularly, there's a scene once we get towards the end, like the third act, where Marcus wants to go and free his brother, which I didn't really get, unless I just spaced out the rhyme or reason as to why now, after centuries on centuries on centuries, like hundreds of years, does he want to free his brother now? Whatever. But he goes to like free his brother, who cannot turn into human form. It's like the I guess like a different breed of werewolf. The first like more animalistic breed of werewolf where they stay an animal, they do not turn and transform into human form, and he was just ravaging the land, so, and turning like a bunch of others, so the vampires locked him away. Well, at the very like the third act sequence, that was a highlight where Celine goes in with this little army from their father, and we're in this cave, we're freeing that werewolf, he's out killing people, and we lock Marcus behind this little like in like this little part of the cave. But there's a moment where like all of her army that came with her are slaughtered, but then they start to resurrect and come back to life because once bitten, they turn into werewolf. This whole sequence was actually really freaking good, like really solid, like werewolf action. It was like, it worked. I had a lot of fun with evolution, and I'm going to put it in now. This is fun. Yeah, I want to put it in now. This is fun. It was a good time. Next we have Resident Evil Apocalypse. This is obviously the sequel in the first sequel in the franchise. And this is the one movie in the whole franchise that feels like a completely different Alice. I feel like Alice in Resident Evil and in Alice in all the sequels after Apocalypse, this is such a stark contrast, but like I like this version of Alice. It's just very odd to me how this version of Alice, like we never get anything like this version again. But Apocalypse really solid on the zombie action, the creature monster T-virus stuff that we get, the Nemesis program. Really love this ensemble cast. Love this ensemble cast. I really like the little like stars member that we get. It's like two of them, Jill and the black guy, and then we have the little umbrella SWAT team that ends up like, oh, we're freelance now, and the whole thing is we have to go into this school and save this little girl, and her dad who works for Umbrella will get us, like a way out, but he's found out, and we want Project Alice to fight Nemesis, and this one works. And I love seeing like going from just being in the little underground place in the first movie to actually being above ground in the city and seeing how the T-virus has spread and everything is coming to a head. Baby, look, peak entertainment. Like that's going right to the top. What did I give Apocalypse? I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. But and I'll be honest, I really enjoyed it on this rewatch, but this typically Apocalypse was kind of at the bottom of all the movies for me. The Nemesis program thing, turning the guy from the first movie into Nemesis, fine. But when we have him fight Alice and then he just suddenly turns on Umbrella, that didn't make much sense to me. I don't know. I feel like we didn't really do anything. And then I honestly kind of didn't get the point. Like he goes, they're like, oh, it's showtime. He's found these stars members. And it's pretty much a slaughter. And that's one thing with all of the Resident Evil movies I've never understood is Umbrella's whole even damn point. Like truly, the whole, like, what's the point? What are we doing? How do you expect these regular people to fight this mother freaking mutated monster? And then like, for what? What are we going to do with them? Like, and I get it. In the movie, they say they're bioweapons, but it just, a lot of this doesn't work for me. And I also, even going from this to Extinction, I feel like we introduce characters and it's like, for what? Whatever happened to the damn little girl? Like, where'd she go? We just forget about her. I don't know. A lot story-wise and with the characters doesn't work for me. But look, I really enjoyed it a lot more on this rewatch than I ever have before. Next, we have Resident Evil Retribution. Babe, I love this movie. Like, I don't care. Look, it got problems. It got some real problems. But I love Resident Evil Retribution. I love all the different settings. Like they have these little test settings in this that I feel like work so well as backdrops to all of the zombie action, the T-virus monster actions. I will never forget watching Retribution coming out and being so excited to see this in theaters because do y'all remember? Okay, they brought Michelle Rodriguez back in two separate franchises at the same time. She died in the Resident Evil franchise and she died in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And they brought her character back in both franchises, if not the same year, somewhere around like the same time. And I remember I used to love Michelle Rodriguez. Obsessed. And actually, my introduction to Michelle Rodriguez was Resident Evil. That's when I fell in love with her. And I was so hyped to get her back in Retribution and like my black guy from the first one. Like they brought characters back kind of for no reason. Like I wish they would have done more with the characters they brought back. They come back as like clones. And I even thought it was interesting how we have like a good Michelle Rodriguez clone and then like the evil one. Even that works, but we kind of don't do anything. Like they come back and then like they just die. Like look, the Resident Evil franchise is the Alice show. And I love that. Great action star. I actually really like Mila Jovovich. But binging all of the movies back to back, it kind of drives home how like one-dimensional Mila Jovovich is. And I don't even think she's in general a one-dimensional actress. I can think of some other movies she's done. Like there's one where someone tries to kill her and she ends up with some medical issue where everybody's face looks different every time she sees them. Was I the only person on the planet who saw that movie? I actually think she's a really good actress. But watching the Resident Evil movies back to back, binging them this week, very one-dimensional in all of these movies. She pretty much switches between like 4 facial expressions. She says everything in like the same tone. And the Alice character, the stick starts to get old. But I love Alice. I really like Alice. I just feel like we don't do much with her as far as like evolving the character. I do wish we got like some new creatures in Retribution. Like we don't really see anything in here from Umbrella that we haven't seen before. And baby, why is the little girl here? Like, get that little girl out of here. The little girl was annoying me. But I will say, I think Retribution has the #1 greatest opening sequence of all the Resident Evil movies. The Resident Evil franchise is very like zombie action, but this intro felt very just like a Dawn of the Dead, Romero, like just a regular grounded. I mean, if zombies can be grounded, type of zombie action where we're in this whole suburbia, and Mila Jovovich's character, she's just a regular housewife, and everything is just like a regular suburban morning, and then all of a sudden it's zombie action, fast-paced chaos. I freaking love this opening sequence. I think it is goddamn top tier. Overall, I really love Retribution. Like, I just have so much fun with this movie. But again, bringing characters back, they did my man Boris Kojo real wrong. Bringing him back, just like I didn't like how we killed him at the end. But I am going to put this in. Now this was fun. I think that was really good. And now we have the Purge Anarchy. I was going to say Resident Evil Anarchy, chat. The Purge Anarchy. Obviously, the shining star, the golden child of the Purge franchise. I think that's probably universal. I feel like this is what the Eat the Hot Purge movie should have been, in the sense that this should have been like the first introduction to this universe, because when you introduce a premise like the Purge, where like all this crime is legal, we want to be outside. We want to be outside. We don't want to be cooped up in a house. We want to be outside. We want to be in the streets. We want to be in them streets, okay? We want to see the chaos and everything that Purge night actually is. And I love this ensemble cast that we get here. I really enjoy them, the intertwined stories and characters, the visuals of the Purgers. This Anarchy is my favorite as far as the Purgers themselves. All of that works. Again, Frank Grillo is such a star. Baby, but you know what? Frank Grillo will do anything. He will do anything. He will play any movie. It's quite a few. Because y'all know, as much as I love like a bad horror movie or like a B movie, action movie, I love a bad action movie. Wait, what did I just say? As much as I love like a B movie, bad horror movie, I also love a B movie, action movie. Baby, Frank Grillo show up in a lot of them. But I really feel like he'll do anything for a check. But I don't blame you, Frank. I don't blame you because, baby, the economy now, look, you got to get every check you could get. But I feel like he'll play anything, child. He really will. If the check is there, he does not care. But Frank Grillo's supremacy, absolutely all the way. Love him in Anarchy. He feels like such an action star, like this dark character. He's out to purge, but he's trying to like help these people. And I feel like Anarchy is the height of what this premise can deliver. The Purgers, the action, the kind of like moral bankruptcy and like questionable nature of society. We got Michael K. Williams in here, which I also feel like we have some real like sense of stakes and tension in this one. All the different places that we go. Now I love Michael K. Like, it still hurts my heart that he passed away. But baby, what was this cameo? Like, what was? Okay, like, no matter what, it's gonna get a little cheesy when he come in there busting a gun, talking about mother F the Purge. Baby, but the Purge gonna be over the top. The Purge gonna be cheesy. It's gonna be silly. But I think this one balances and doesn't do it like to such a degree that it gets like really laughable, where like you can't even take them seriously. We move, like I said, to really cool places with the story where we got like the rich folks hunting them in the maze, the friend in a high rise, two separate groups hunting them. Well, one wants to kill them, one is just, wanting to get money. The Frank Grillo arc makes more sense and feels a lot more focused than like the drug dealer turned hero in the first Purge. Like Frank Grillo being out for revenge and wanting to purge, but having a backstory where like you can empathize and understand, and like turning him to like a hero, that works a lot better for me in here than in the first Purge. Baby, that's going all the way at the top. All the way to the top. Do I even like are there really any questions on why that would be there? Next we have Underworld Awakening. I think this is the third one in the is this the third one? Oh no, damn. Yeah. This is the third one. I think, don't quote me. I think this is it was no. I think Rise of the Lycans is the third one. The prequel is the third one, but this is the third in like the continual storyline. This is where the franchise got real difficult for me to get through. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's Awakening and then Blood Wars that's left. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, it went real downhill. And look, we haven't gotten there yet. I'm really not the biggest fan of Underworld, the first one. I liked Evolution a lot more than the first one, but it was still really solid. But Underworld Awakening, I don't like adding the humans. I don't. I like for the franchise to focus on the werewolves, the vampires. Don't add humans in the story at all. Like, I don't like it. And it was very obvious that they were doing something sinister because it made no sense at the top of the movie when we get the whole like news flashing. They know that vampires and werewolves, they know, the humans know that they exist, and apparently they've been living amongst us, but now we gotta like eradicate them. Well, if they've been living amongst us just fine, why we gotta eradicate them? Like, obviously the humans want to go experiment and turn themselves into them. But I didn't understand why we wanted to turn ourselves into werewolves instead of turning ourselves into vampires. But maybe because you can't go in the sun. I don't know. But I didn't think that made. I don't want to be no werewolf. I want to turn into a beast. I didn't like how the action was good, like Celine fighting when she goes to get out, when she's being held captive or whatever. But why she ain't bite nobody? Like if we got a vampire going through fighting humans, baby, I don't want to just see like shooting guns and like I want to see her biting people. Like I want to see vampire action, and that was one of my biggest issues is if we're adding humans into the story and we have a vampire fighting him, babe, why she ain't bite nobody? Like, why is there no actual vampire action? I was very shocked going back to rewatch the franchise. Like, it's not a lot of vampire action. Like, the vampires really could have just been humans because all they do is be shooting and like physically fighting, but they don't really be like attacking like vampires. Like, it didn't work for me. On this rewatch. Like I said, I remember loving this franchise, but I was just like, baby, where's the real vampire action? Questionable effects, and y'all know I'm not a CGI snob. I'm not an effects snob. It has to really be kind of glaringly bad for it to really bother me. This was glaringly bad for me when we get to the very like third act and that lead doctor is transforming. I thought it was really visually atrocious. And again, watching these movies back to back, it got like I wanted to cut it off. I was like, oh god damn. Like I was so over it by the time we got to Awakening. But I mean, I think Awakening was pretty bad. This is the one that introduced Theo James, which I like him. I like the actor that plays his dad. It was some solid moments when the Lycans attacked the little, what was it, the Eastern Coven. I mean, I'm gonna put it in remove your no, because I don't think it has a lot of. I feel like remove your brain would be stuff with some real logic issues. I don't think it's real like glaringly bad logic issues. You know what? We're gonna keep it right there. We're gonna keep it right there. Because it obviously doesn't need to be at the very bottom, but I can't put it up and now this is fun. Brainless entertainment. No logic issues, but we'll just say this is like brainless entertainment. Yeah. It was painful to get through. I'm beyond. What did I give this on? I feel like I gave this like a 1, if I remember correctly. Like I gave it something really, really, really freaking low. Oh, I didn't give it. Oh, I didn't give it that bad. I gave it 2 stars out of 5, and I put this is when the franchise starts to get a little questionable. That was my little 1-line review. This is when it gets a little questionable. Next we have the Forever Purge. Was I the only person on planet Earth that liked this movie? This is like my 3rd rewatch of the Forever Purge. I feel like this is a logical evolution. Why would we want to stop purging? Why would we want to just relegate it to one day of the year? We do have very cardboard cutout characters, and we have bored performances from most of the cast. Even Will Patton, who I love, but also to his defense, he really didn't have nothing to do. I really, really hated that main white guy who plays Will Patton's son. No redeeming qualities. Just absolutely not likable. Was picking on the Mexican guy, the bulk of the, like, not the bulk of the movie, but the top of the movie when he's working for him. Like, his character acts really racist to the Mexican guy who he employs. Like, why you employ this man? Like, you want him doing work for you, but you don't even much like this man. But he acts really racist towards the Mexican guy just to later in the movie say, hey, I'm not racist. I just don't want to mix with anyone who isn't white. Are we supposed to like the character now? Like, I was so, like, are we supposed to be like, oh, okay, he cool. All right. And you know what? It is a pretty, like, generic, mediocre movie. But I have a lot of fun with this movie. I really do. And you could say that the first Purge is as heavy-handed with its messaging as, I mean, the Forever Purge is as heavy-handed with its messaging as the first Purge with like the Americans seeking asylum in Mexico. But hey, I like it. It works for me. Now it does get ridiculous. The Purgers, again, like, oh god, I don't know why they make the Purgers like so silly. And also it gets ridiculous because, baby, how the military gets beat by like a group of like people with guns. Like you are the trained damn military. Like that just made no. And like in a few hours, like apparently the military lost America to the Purgers. What? It was so crazy. Like literally, the purge ended, and we had to hurry up and seek asylum in Mexico because the purgers like beat the American military. It ain't make no sense. The only characters I liked or cared about was Juan and his wife. The only actors who didn't feel like they were asleep at the wheel, and I'm gonna be honest, they were easy to like, root for. But y'all, am I correct? Because when I remember the first Purge came out, everybody was like dogging. I like this movie. Like I have a lot of fun with this movie, and I'll be honest, I kind of had to nitpick to really find like negatives, which I do agree with the negative. Yeah, like I don't really care about the bulk of the characters. The purges are silly, but it doesn't ruin my enjoyment. Like I don't care that it makes no sense. The American military gonna lose America to the purgers in a matter of like 4 hours. Like I don't even care. Like I don't. When they're trying to cross the desert, when they're trying to get through the city, when we think the purge is over and Juan's wife gets attacked, like all of that is good stuff. It's good stuff. I had a lot of fun with the first Purge. Again, this was like my third rewatch of the first Purge. I'll probably rewatch it again in the next few months. Like, I like the first Purge. I mean, the forever. I keep calling it the first Purge. The forever Purge. But they did have like some hokey dialogue when Buddy was like, does that translate? And then like shot the guy. Juan, baby. No, that wasn't good. I feel like this gotta be a typo. It shows that I gave the Forever Purge a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I really think that was like a typo mess up because it's a solid 3 out of 5. I like the first Purge. I like it. I be feeling like maybe I be having some questionable taste sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's y'all with the questionable taste because people really dog out the Forever Purge. I have fun with that movie. I am going to put Forever Purge in the second tier. It's a good time. Like. Next we have Underworld, Rise of the Lycans. And I forgot to say, all the sequels are just jumbled because that's just what happens when you put the images in tier maker. It just puts it in whatever order. Rise of the Lycans, I really like this movie. And I feel like y'all need to stop saying horror prequels are not good. Love this prequel, love the action, love the whole like story of like, I think his name was Lucian, and like all the Lycans being like slaves of and the vampires ruling over them and trying to like break free. And he like fell in love with the Victor's daughter and everything. Motherfucker, look, this is a top tier goddamn movie. I'm putting that at the top. Peak entertainment. Like Rise of the Lycans. I said that I want to retract my statement of saying that these 3 franchises are the most underrated. Underworld was not as good as I remember. I had not seen that franchise in like 20 years. Rise of the Lycans is still as good as I remember. That is a good damn movie. The werewolf action, so good. Peak. I don't know why we don't get werewolf, and maybe it's also just because there's always a werewolf movie drought. I feel like I haven't seen a werewolf. Oh no, I'm lying. I was gonna say I feel like I haven't seen a werewolf movie all year, but I did see a werewolf movie. That movie that I like, it's mediocre. I think it's called Howl or The Howl, where it's like a group of people who end up stuck on a train that breaks down and they get attacked by wolves. I saw that this year. It was like a rewatch, but we haven't really gotten any. We don't get a lot of werewolf action, and that, like I said, that was a mediocre movie. This was like. The acting was so damn good. When Lucian has to watch the woman he loves, who's carrying like his baby, like a burn alive. Oh my god, the action was good. And seeing this prequel makes me even more pissed off that Lucian died at the hands of that scrub. Like, oh my god! And I think it's the first it's the first Underworld movie where Lucian dies. Oh, that pisses me off so bad. Like, he deserves better. He deserves a lot better. Next we have Resident Evil, the final chapter. I swear, I just saw this today. I really feel like I've never seen this movie. Maybe it's just been that long. I felt like I never saw this before today. I really I really like Whisker. I feel like he's fun. Him and Alice's interactions are fun. I've never been a big fan of Dr. Isaacs. He's in Evolution. I really don't like him I really don't like him. But I actually kind of liked him as the main villain here in the final chapter. And I like when we get like two versions of him. But the final chapter does a lot of bullshit. The final chapter really does a lot of bullshit. I don't know how many different versions of the T virus being released they can give us in one damn franchise. Like, just to give you one example, like, how many different versions of the same event can y'all give us? And then to have the Red Queen say stuff like her programming or whatever, like, restricts her from harming an Umbrella employee. Wait a minute, baby. Ain't that how these damn movies started? Because you goddamn massacred a bunch of Umbrella employees? What do you mean? Like, oh my, look, this movie is a mess. It is truly a mess. And I feel like the entire Resident Evil franchise, like, borrows from other movies. The final chapter definitely gives Mad Max. And I said that this third season of From, I was like, did anybody notice it's like edited really weird? The final chapter is edited really odd. It really feels like it wasn't even professionally edited. Like, it's and I feel like what I come to Resident Evil franchise for is the action, is Mila Jovovich kicking everybody behind, the fighting. I really hate the way they shot and edited a lot of the action, but I'm gonna be honest, I had a lot of fun with this movie. Like I said, I did not remember watching it, but according to my mother, we watched it together and we hated it. And I was like, "Are you sure we hated this?" Because I really enjoyed. Like, I was having a good time. Like, literally, I was like, "This is fun." Like, look, it's a mess. I don't know why the hell we introduced Claire and her brother just for them to, like, what the hell happened to Claire brother? But Claire pops the hell up here. I don't know what the hell, like, baby, characters just pop up, they die, they pop up, they die. We don't know. We don't know. But this is the most useless the character of Claire has ever been. I feel like I think it's Afterlife. Yeah, Afterlife. We kind of, because like I said, Alice is pretty much, it's the Alice show, but I feel like with Afterlife, they kind of put Claire kind of side by side to give her, like, and when I say side by side, I mean, like, give her some of the spotlight, because, you know, Alice takes the spotlight from all the characters. Every character is dispensable except Alice, but like when they have that big fight in that little shower or whatever, like, this is the most useless they have made Claire. Painfully predictable and obvious movie, baby. We knew who the mole was. Like, yeah, like, but I'm gonna be honest, like, I really like this movie. I like Resident Evil, the final chapter. I had fun. Any critique or anybody who doesn't like it, I will likely agree with every problem that you had with this movie, but I had fun. Like, I was literally watching it like, we hated this because I'm having a good motherfucking time. I was like, I'm having a good time, and I'm gonna put it in now. This is fun. I'm second tier. Look, I'm sorry, and it's crazy. Like, I feel like I'm not gonna say if I saw it. I don't remember seeing it, but if my mother said we saw it together, baby, we saw it together. But I've obviously never rewatched it. This was like the first rewatch. I just was like, I had fun, and this is the most I've enjoyed Dr. Isaacs. Like I said, really don't like him in Extinction. I like Whiskers. But I really like Isaac here. And And then and I'm gonna be honest, them trying to pull out Alice has been a clone the whole time. She's really that, daughter that was supposed to die. First of all, why the hell the daughter ain't dead? Y'all said she was gonna be an old woman by the time she was 25. Why is she here? And I get it. They put all the what were they, board members or whatever? Like they're but I'm gonna be honest, it didn't work for me. It didn't work. And it also didn't work because it wasn't like pulling out like a shock, awe, or surprise for the audience. Now, I'll be honest, did I connect the dots that Alice was that little girl who her dad made the TV? No. But was I shocked that Alice is a clone? Hell no. We know Alice wasn't motherfucking human. She's Project Alice. Umbrella has been talking about her like one of their property since what, the second movie, since Apocalypse. Like, come on out. It didn't work for me. And then I'm gonna be honest, I like this movie, yes, I had fun, but so much of this movie treats the audience like we're imbeciles, like, or either the filmmakers are imbeciles. The whole situation of Alice has to get this cure in like 5 hours or all of humanity is dead. Like the rest, which I thought we really have no damn humanity left, child, because y'all made extinction look like the damn whatever. Like dystopian world, but okay, that's neither here nor there. But how in God's name do we know down to the wire, the exact second and minute that the entire fucking rest of humanity is gonna be wiped the hell out? And then the time issues was a problem for me. Once we get to the point where Alice literally has 4 minutes before all of humanity is gone, she has the time to have like a 30-minute motherfucking showdown with Dr. Isaacs. Then she has to travel through the entire facility that we just saw them spend an hour of the movie having the group travel through. Then she gets outside. It was pissing me off. Baby, the second you get, because the whole thing is, oh, we can't break it underground because it'll never, get to the surface. The second I feel like there's some logic issues in there, but I ain't no scientist, whatever. The second I get to the surface, baby, break the motherfucking vial and release the cure. She gets outside, she's walking, she's just standing on hold, like a lot of time is passed. And it's like, you had 4 minutes, like 30 minutes ago. Like, what are we doing? Like, look, any critique, I completely will get if people really hate the final chapter, but like I said, I had like a mindless turn your brain. Like, I was having a lot of fun. Forever Purge is one of the good ones. Oh, so I'm not alone. Yes, I like the Forever Purge. I like the Purge franchise. Okay, I will stick to the Purge franchise. Is very underrated. Y'all don't talk about it enough. That's a good franchise. Pretty girl Danny, thank you so much for being here in the live. Hey, Nikki, had you running live while I was busy putting up my tree, but I'm here now. Shout out to you for getting a Christmas tree up. Shout out to you for being here on the live and listening. A shout out to everybody that is here in the live with me. Please make sure you hit the like button and comment in the chat. Let me know you're here. All the good things. The next movie that we are going to get into is Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So I have seen this movie 3 times now. I watched it some years ago, didn't really like it, hated it. And I actually rewatched it twice this week to get ready for this live. On my first watch this week, I gave it 1 star, like 1.5 star out of 5 on Letterboxd. But I think that, but I was like, I think that might be kind of hard, so I went back to like rewatch it. I mean, it's not that bad. I do like some of the horror elements. I just like, as someone who's a fan of this franchise, I don't like I said, I don't know anything about the games. I was really bored with this one. First of all, I feel like the Resident Evil franchise is Alice. Like, I need Alice. The same way I feel like Scream is Neve Campbell. Like, Resident Evil is Alice, is Mila Jovovich for me personally. I don't like having a movie without her, and then I was also confused because with the characters, first of all, I literally didn't like any character. The brother was cool, but I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't care about them. I was very confused. I was like, is this a prequel? Because like we had Jill Valentine here, we had Whisker, and then I was confused with the brother and sister. I was like, is that the Allie Lauder Claire? Like I was just all confused. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, is that the Allie Lauder Claire or is that another Claire? Like so. Claire was familiar with zombies and the Umbrella Corporation, and then I was confused because I was like, wait, Raccoon City was destroyed. And this is a Jill and a Claire that's young. But I'm like, and then I was like, wait, so once we get to Apocalypse, wasn't that Raccoon City? So Jill Valentine was already familiar with Umbrella and they're doing all this. Like, I was confused. I was all confused. And then we introduced all these characters and I didn't understand the dynamics and all the character stuff. Like, it was fine. I wasn't really into the movie. I honestly feel like a lot of the characters were useless. There was no real character development. They're just kind of here. And then like we spotlight Whisker and his like betrayal at the end. It just kind of felt like a mess to me. I was like, what's important here? Like, we have the whole plot with the side plot with the orphanage and that doctor, and then we have like the Spencer matching, and Whisker is on like a secret mission from some secret person who turns out to be like Ida Wong, and I'm like, wait, the lady from Retribution? Like, I was all confused. I was all thrown off. Also, somehow when we're in the mansion, nobody can hear what's happening in like another room. Like, I didn't understand the significance of the Spencer matching. There was like this weird, I guess, Umbrella experiment girl, like helping Claire living in the orphanage. But how nobody don't see this weird monster living in the orphanage? Like, I don't know. A lot of it just wasn't working for me. Then I was confused because the Whisker we see here, first of all, don't Whisker, like in the movies previous, don't he got like a little accent? Ain't that like an accent he got, or am I tripping? It just didn't feel like the same character. And then, so Whisker was a cop, and then he was trying to work with some mystery lady that contacted him, which he's like, I don't even care who she is. He don't know who she is, but he's trying to like get something to expose Umbrella. But in the previous movies, don't he work for Umbrella and he's evil? I was confused. I was confused. I really don't care for this movie. I don't. I'm gonna put it at the bottom. Like, I'm sorry. And I tried to rewatch it twice before doing this ranking, like trying to see if maybe I was being a little too harsh. Because like I said, I'm just used to like Alice, and I'm used to like the action of this franchise, and that whole part of it is scaled down here. But and then like there's a rookie cop that was an imbecile that was getting on my nerves. Yeah, that movie just does not work for me at all. Speaking of another movie that just don't work, another movie that don't work. Next we have Underworld Blood Wars. I was not impressed with the new Lycan leader. I was honestly dreadfully bored watching this movie. Nothing made sense to me. Okay, so we want to get the little girl that is Michael and Celine's daughter. But once the leader, the Lycan leader, once he actually gets to Celine and the vampire takes her blood to know everything she knows, and we find out she wasn't lying, she doesn't know where her daughter is. Why did he go attack the Eastern Coven? Like, what was that gonna get him? Like, I was so confused. Like, baby, you ain't got the hybrid now. So now what's the plan? Your character motivation was you wanted to get the hybrid, you wanted her blood. So now you're gonna just attack the Eastern Coven, like whatever that. Like, nothing made sense to me. Nothing made sense to me. Then when he thinks Selena's dead, when she pops up at the mansion, he's like hell bent. Like, why he mad at her? Like, I don't know. Nothing made sense to me. And then to have Michael be such like a big part of the franchise, and then like we just told like this new Lycan leader killed him. Like, and nothing works. Nothing works. It's a mess. Nothing could say like there was really nothing redeemable about Blood Wars. We're gonna put that in the bottom as well. Like even somebody like me who had so much fun with the final chapter, Resident Evil final chapter, like I can have fun with a movie that's like a mess or like not technically good. Like give me some entertainment value, and like I feel like I'm not easily impressed, but I'm easily entertained. Like I am. I'm easily entertained. Like just give me something engaging and fun and entertaining. Baby, Blood Wars was so dreadfully, like it was boring. Like, oh my god. Theo James ain't that fine. Like he not fine enough for me to just be able to just have fun just looking at him. Like y'all, they needed to give me something. I was over it. Next, we have Ethan Hawke's Purge. Now, I said I hadn't rewatched any of the Underworld movies for like 20 years. I also had never rewatched Ethan Hawke's Purge. I saw it one time when it came out. I remember not being much of a fan. So over the years, I've just never been very motivated to go back and rewatch it. So this was actually my first rewatch. And I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I actually really enjoyed Ethan Hawke's Purge. It felt very slasher. It felt very like home invasion horror with like a really interesting premise of like this purge and all crime being legal. But like I said, with Anarchy, which came after this, baby, with a premise like that, baby, we want to be outside. We want to be in the streets. But I was like, I remember not really caring for this movie. I really enjoyed this. Look, as always, the kids were annoying. The kids were annoying as hell. The ending really fell flat. I mean, baby, who bright idea was it to kill Ethan Hawke? Then like have everybody just sitting around at the table looking at each other. That ain't make no sense. But in the vein of like a home invasion slasher horror, I actually had a lot of fun with this. Like I really enjoyed this a lot. Now I haven't rewatched it in like 100 years. Would I go another 100 years not rewatching it? Yeah, probably. But I had a lot of fun with this. I'm putting it in the second tier. Resident Evil, baby. Look, put it in the top. Do I have to say anything? Look, I will never forget watching Resident Evil for the first time with my mother when I was a teenager. This is when I fell in love with not Mila Jovovich. This is when I fell in love with Michelle Rodriguez. Like, I am obsessed to this day with this movie. I have rewatched it a nauseating amount of time over the years. The score is top most freaking tier. All of the characters, I love the ensemble characters. I love Michelle Rodriguez in here, the leader of her little group, everybody in the group. I love the whole situation with like Mila Jovovich character and then that other guy like losing their memory, then it coming back to them throughout the movie, and he realized like, remember, he's a bad guy. The cop that's there, but he's not really a cop. He's like some kind of something child, and he's looking for his sister. Everything in this movie works. I love the zombie action. I love the sequences trying to get through the hive. Of course, the little laser sequence. Like, this movie is fucking amazing. Like, I don't care. I literally consider this a early 2000s classic. Period. Love this movie. Love this movie. It has stood the test of time. I think it has aged well. Like, everything works for me. We get the regular T-virus zombies. We get a few creatures, because we have the creature where I think it was the T-virus injected right into living tissue, and then once he actually feeds on somebody on that plane train platform, it like mutates into a different creature. Like, everything in this movie freaking works. The sequence where Alice wakes up in the mansion and she's like walking like outside and the wind blows and like it feels like something's coming at her and she runs inside, and that's when a cop grabs her, and then that's when Michelle and her team. Like, all of that is good stuff. And even how the movie ends, where, oh yeah, there's like all the sequences I was talking about in the Hive. I love when we're in like that tunnel and all the zombies come at us and we're climbing up on the little thing and Rain is trying to shoot, but she can't because, she done been infected. And again, the franchise always borrows from stuff, but I still enjoy it when we open a what do you call it? The elevator doors and the zombies are all in there and it pulls someone in. Rain gets bit yet again. Like, everything about Resident Evil just works. Like, I love that movie. Love it. Next we have Resident Evil Afterlife. Love the intro music in the opening sequence. Love the setting. Just a great opening sequence. I think this is my second favorite of the franchise. But baby, the way they be killing their own men. Like, I don't understand how Umbrella Company, and this has always, it's a few things that has always bugged me about this franchise, but the way they seem to have like an unlimited supply of employees, which I guess are they just cloning them all? Because the way it's like, sir, our men are still down there, and they just shoot them. Like, they just be killing their people. Like, whatever. But what didn't make sense to me and just really bugged me, I mentioned it at the top of this video with the inconsistencies and stuff in this franchise. This is the movie, Afterlife is the movie where they take the T virus from Alice, but like she still was superhuman. Like, I don't understand what the hell we did. But then also another thing that has always bugged me with this franchise is, what the hell is Umbrella even doing? Like, what is the motivation? Like, what? Why are we still doing experiments when the damn world done ended? But if we have this T virus in extinction, Dr. Isaacs was supposed to be trying to like domesticate them, turn them back like human, find like a cure. Then we get to Afterlife. If they could cure Alice and take the T virus from her, why the hell are we still in this damn apocalypse? Like, why are we still in this like dystopian world where like the world is overrun with zombies? And then I was like, why does Umbrella keep creating these experiments and putting them free into the world? Like, when we see the monster just out in the street coming at them at the prison, why y'all even created this thing? Like, why are we? I don't get it. I don't know. And even like the dogs, we know we have the T virus dogs, but when we get to the third act, it's like they've mutated them even more. Like, they whole face. Oh, why y'all still playing with the T virus? Why y'all still experimenting? Like, it just makes no sense. And it's like a sore thumb in a franchise with Umbrella Company. Like, it bugs the hell out of me. But, and like I said, why add Claire's brother here? Like, after Afterlife, we never hear from him again. And I also feel like Afterlife is the weakest movie in the franchise story-wise. But baby, I have a lot of fun in this movie. I have a lot of fun with this movie. And I will say this is one of my least favorite ensemble casts. Typically, look, everybody is a throwaway character except for Alice, but typically I enjoy all of our little ensemble cast. This was such a group of throwaway characters. I really didn't care about nobody but Boris Kojo. But I'm gonna put Afterlife. I kind of really want to put it in peak into. I really like Afterlife. That is a good time. I'm kind of thinking, should I just put it in Now This Is Fun? Because it got a lot. I mean, it has a lot of issues. I mean, the entire, except for that first Resident Evil, the entire franchise has a lot of problems. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna keep it at the top. I think it deserves to be at the top. Next we have Underworld, and I'm gonna be honest, on this rewatch, it felt very lackluster. Again, this is a franchise I haven't seen in like 100 years. It was very lackluster. It just felt like it was pretty much a love story, really and truthfully. I did like the showdown at the end where we are finally fighting. I think his name was Victor. That was good stuff, but I mean, it was okay. It was okay. Um, I'll put it in Now. This is. I kind of feel like I should have put a tier in between Now this is fun because I want to put it below this is fun, but I want to put it above this second to last tier. So I'll just put it up here. I mean, like it's solid. I wasn't crazy about it. It was okay. And now we have Resident Evil Extinction. Again, I got a lot of problems with the Umbrella Corporation. When Dr. Isaac is like, Project Alice is important to my research. What research? The world has ended. We literally go to like a dystopian world between the second and third movie. Like, why are you still research? Like, what fucking research for what? Like, first of all, you're supposed to be domesticating these zombies and like getting a cure to restore the population. Like, literally. And oh god, this franchise is just so inconsistent. Because in later movies, it was all, the Umbrella Corporation intentionally wanted to end the world. Like, what the hell? But in Extinction, he was supposed to be trying to restore the population. That's what Umbrella was trying to do. But we get some really good stuff here. The infected bird sequence was really good. A lot of the action was really good. Mila Jovovich getting like tricked by the people that go to attack her and sick those dogs. Those T-virus dogs will never get old. I actually don't care for the mutated T-virus dogs in Afterlife. I like just the regular T-virus dogs. Okay. They played Michael Epps in this movie. I do not like how they played Michael Epps in Extinction, having him hiding that bite and killing what for me is a fan favorite character. Like, why y'all do Michael Epps like that? Like, why y'all do him like that? And it also just doesn't make sense with the character because in the very first movie he's in, Apocalypse, he gets mad to find out that old boy was bit and he was running around with him and he didn't say nothing. But then in this movie, he ran around and I don't like how they did him. I really don't like how they did him. And I really liked Michael Epps in Apocalypse. I don't know why they did him like that in Extinction, but Dr. Isaacs, I really don't like Dr. Isaacs as the lead villain. Like, it's fine. It's a good fight when he's a monster and he goes to fight Alice. Oh yeah, when they go to Las Vegas and all those zombies comes out. That's a great, like, this is some great stuff in Extinction. But I just don't care for Dr. Isaacs. And then again, I just can't think too hard into it. Umbrella motivations never make sense for me. Dr. Isaacs' motivations in this movie doesn't make sense to me. When he's literally this disgusting monster talking about I'm the future. This the life you want to live? Like, you want to look like this? You want to be a mutated monster? Like, it just doesn't make any sense for me. But I'm gonna put it in peak entertainment. It's a damn fine movie, okay? So those are our 17 movies ranked. We have 6 movies in the top tier, and the bulk of the movies in the top tier come from the Resident Evil franchise. Like, baby, don't play. Don't play with the Resident Evil, okay? So that is our tier list ranking. So now that we have ranked every movie in each franchise, now I'm going to give you a quick ranking of each separate franchise and their movies, starting with Resident Evil. From least favorite to favorite, it's going to be Raccoon City at the bottom. Like I said, I just was very bored. A lot of it didn't make sense to me. There's some solid like horror stuff, but I don't have much in that movie. I probably will never rewatch it, like truly. And then I have the final chapter. This movie is a mess. Like, it is a literal mess. But I have a lot of fun with that movie. I really enjoy that movie. I will likely rewatch it again. Then it's going to be Retribution. And again, this movie is a mess, but I love this movie. I love all the separate little settings and backdrops we have for the fights. It really freaking works. My biggest issue is I wish we actually did something with bringing those characters back to life, Michelle Rodriguez and that black guy and stuff. And I wish we got like new T-virus creatures. it seems like every Resident Evil movie we get like a new creature except Retribution. And we didn't really get creatures in Raccoon City. Welcome to Raccoon City. We pretty much just got like zombies, T-virus zombies, but not like the monsters and stuff. And then next it would be Apocalypse. This has actually risen for me. Apocalypse used to be at the bottom of my Resident Evil ranking, but I really enjoyed it this time around. Then it would be Afterlife. Baby, that movie is amazing. Like, really, really good action. Now, the 3D stick doesn't work for me. I've never understood the hype of 3D. I don't care for 3D. I will never forget this coming out. And it was like the whole, like, that was the marketing. Like, it was really hyping up the 3D. Not a fan. I really, really enjoyed the fact that this is pretty much the only movie in the franchise that feels like it tries to not lean so far into this just being like the Alice show and it just being all about Alice. Like, we tried to give Claire some shine, particularly like that fight scene they do together with that big creature monster thingy. But baby, is Alice human or not? Like, that irks me so bad. And my top two movies in the franchise would be Extinction. I just love. I don't know how the hell the whole world, whatever, we done lost the world between from one movie to the next. But the desert, dystopian, like, I freaking Mad Max kind of feel. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love the ensemble cast. And then, of course, the number one movie in this franchise for me is going to be Resident Evil. That movie is just top tier. That score is amazing. Oh my God, that movie just works. That movie really just works for me personally. Is that not a classic for everybody else? It's such a classic to me. It truly, truly is such a classic. 3D can seem a little try hard or even silly. I feel like 3D hurts my eyes. I don't want to see stuff flying at my face. It's not fun to me. It gives me a headache. I also feel like it is silly and cheesy. Like, I just don't. And I feel like, what was that Final Destination? I think it was a Final Destination movie they did 3D and a Saw movie. And then like shoot blood at you. Like, it's just, I don't like it. And I think it's my favorite little bathroom scene in Afterlife where, like, yeah, it's when he throws the hammer and it flies over Mila Jovovich and Claire Arlie Lauder. And they do a lot of slow-mo in this franchise. Oh Lord Jesus, they go real over the top with the slow-mo. But yeah, 3D, I've never understood the hype of 3D. It just, for me personally, just does not work. And then my ranking of the 5 movies in the Underworld franchise, at the bottom is gonna be Blood Wars. Throw the whole movie away. I was bored to tears. Literally bored to tears. Didn't really care for any of the main villains on the vampire side or on the Lycan side with that main villain. And then it didn't make any sense to me with the villainous on the vampire side. You want to save the vampires from the Lycans, but you slaughter and exterminate a ton of vampires. Baby, that made sense. Awakening would be next. Then the original Underworld, and then Evolution. And my number one in the franchise is Rise of the Lycans. I really feel like you could throw the whole franchise away except for Rise. And except for Rise of the Lycans and Evolution. Would I ever rewatch Underworld? No, probably not. I'll probably rewatch Rise of the Lycans in like a few years, but that franchise was so much more lackluster than I remember it being. I remember loving Underworld, and I literally always be like, why nobody ever talk about Underworld? Okay, it's a reason, because it's lackluster now. Like, I feel like if you go into this franchise as a first time watch, I really don't see you getting much enjoyment out of it, like, at all. It's so, and then like the Lisa Lee, oh my God. I couldn't with baby running around in that tight ass leather all the time. It literally felt silly. Like, I mean, it felt silly. And I I used to feel like she looked all badass. No, it feels silly to have her running around fighting in this tight ass spandex fake leather outfit. Like, if you're trying to fight, like, how you gonna fight in this restrictive ass out? Like, I don't know. It just annoyed me. And like, was she wearing the same clothes every day? Like, it just got, I really didn't care for her character. It wasn't working for me. And then the 5 movies in the Purge at the bottom, like I said, throw the first Purge away. Then it would be Ethan Hawke's Purge. The Forever Purge is a lot of fun. Then it would be Election Year. But of course, the one that reigns at the top is Anarchy. And then of the 3 franchises, at the bottom, obviously, it's going to be Underworld, then The Purge, then Resident Evil is number 1 of all 3 of these franchises. I love Resident Evil franchise. Now, do I still stand by my proclamation that these are the 3 most underrated horror franchises and like they're just so good? Hell no. Hell no. But I do still stand behind The Purge being a really solid franchise and Resident Evil being a really solid franchise. Now, Resident Evil, don't go into it for the plot and look, just go into it for zombie creature action. And that's it. Like, literally, that's it. But that was my ranking of these 3 franchises and just quick thoughts on all of the franchises. As always, I will upload the tier list so you can see that. But thank you guys so much for being here for this live. And I'm not sure what's coming up. I don't really have it. I do have something coming up. You can now, if you have a certain horror movie you would like to see me review and hear my thoughts on, you can now get that done. And we had our first purchase, which is what was it? Pumpkinhead from 1988. So that will be up. That will be coming this coming week. Dexter prequel series starts. So I'll likely be talking about that. But outside of those 2 things, I don't really have anything planned. But thank you so much for being here, for supporting the channel. As always, please do all the things, comment, after live, when the video is uploaded, like, share, all the good things. And we are going to end on a night of horror commercial. And I will see you guys in the next video.
Now, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
It knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
Sometimes that is better.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
They are not men, monsieur. They are dead bodies. Dead. Zombies.
I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
They're here already! You're next! You're next! You're next!
We'll make her one of us. A loving cup, a loving cup. We accept her one of us. We accept her one of us.
Goober gobble, goober gobble.
We accept her, we accept her. Google gobble, Google gobble. One of us. One of us. Google gobble.
They're going to make you one of them.